spending that was announced in the budget yesterday, does it, the fact that there's no new spending, does that mean that there won't be new spending from the defense review, or is that still an option when the defense review comes out?
Just a couple of points on that. We committed $8 billion in the last federal budget, Budget 2022, for defense spending. We also committed almost $40 billion for modernizing NORAD and continental defense. And thirdly, to your question, we have the defense policy update underway to have a comprehensive look at what additional capabilities the Canadian Armed Forces need on top of strong, secure, engaged. So that will be a policy reform that we bring forward.
And when's that coming out?
The stakeholder engagement is currently underway, and it's very broad-based, so it will be in the short term, but not immediately.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Doug Ford says the carbon tax is killing people. How do you respond to that?
Well, a family of four in Ontario will get almost $1,000 back from the federal carbon pricing system. And I find it incredibly rich coming from a premier who has no plan to fight climate change. And as we've heard the President of the United States say in this great House just last week, a good economic plan in 2023 is a good climate change plan, is a good security plan. Fortunately, Mr. Ford doesn't seem to have much to say about any of these things.
And on the Imperial oil leak at the Kearl site, the Alberta Energy Regulator is now launching an independent review of their response. What in particular do you want that review to look at?
Honestly, I heard about this very recently. I don't have any details, so we will be looking forward to getting more details as to what this independent review would be doing. Certainly, we will be talking with the Indigenous nations about that as well in the coming days. As you know, I have extended an invitation to the Alberta government, the Indigenous nations, and the company so that we can sit down all together and figure out how we have a good, robust monitoring and communication system when it comes to the tailing ponds.
But do you have any specific questions for the energy regulator, or you just want to see how it plays out?
Well, we have, and the department is looking into the agreement that we have with the Alberta regulator in terms of which information they were supposed to communicate and when they were supposed to communicate it to us. That work is ongoing.
Does that agreement need to be updated? Sorry, I just have two more questions.
As I said, I have proposed that we sit down. Clearly, I've said it to you, I've said it to others, the system we have doesn't work, so we need to come up with a new system. I don't have all the ideas, and the idea, the reason why we want the Indigenous nations at the table is that so that they can also have a voice in terms of how these projects are affecting them and how do we make sure that we have good monitoring and communication processes in place.
And the Alberta Premier says that the federal government is against the idea of treating and releasing tailings ponds water. When we spoke a few weeks ago, you seemed open to the idea of releasing the water as long as it could be treated to drinking water standards. Can you clarify what your position is?
I disagree with the Premier. We have, in fact, a Crown Indigenous Alberta government working group that has been working at this for many months now, and I don't want to preclude what the conclusion of this working group would be, but we need to find a long-term solution to this problem. We can't just keep pumping toxic water into...
to releasing treated water?
Yes, I'm open to it, but I'm not saying this will be the conclusion. We have to do the work, and obviously we have to make sure that the solutions we come up with will be solutions that Indigenous nations agree with, and there's a lot of trust to be rebuilt on that. My apologies, I have to go.
On the fact that 11 months in, we still don't even know how much has been leaked. How is that possible? How do we have a monitoring system and more than 1 trillion liters of tailings ponds, toxic water sitting there, and 11 months after a leak started, we still don't know how much was even released? How is that possible?
When I said that the system wasn't working, that's certainly one of the things I had in mind.
Okay, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.